All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and deliver session 2 here. I know that we've been going out of order on these sessions, but just bear with me. There is a method to my madness. Trust the process, all right? This week, you guys have been gathering information about a debate topic. And today, what I've done, I've provided for the guest teacher a list of assigned positions. So I'm going to decide which side of the argument you will argue when we do these live debates. You've been gathering information about both sides of the argument, and at this point in time, you should be prepared to argue either side. So I'm going to put you guys into teams for that. The guest teacher has a list of all of that, and you guys will be working to prepare for those live debates today in class. This lesson will include an argument outline and a couple of tips and tricks. If you have not yet watched the video that I linked in Schoology prior to starting this video, you do need to stop this video and go back and do that. The video I'm referencing is the example debate link there. I would like you to have taken notes in this notes section down here, just so that you are kind of having almost like a little discussion with me and going over the things that I saw versus the things that you saw. So when I do that, if there are things on the notes that you didn't record, go ahead and throw them down into your notes, because you want to make sure you have access to those, because you're going to need them later when you start practicing these debates. So again, if you haven't watched the example debate video yet, please stop this video and go back and do that. Take some notes on the moves that you see that are being made, and then come on back to this video so that we can go over what I noticed. So on to that video. So when I was watching this video, guys, I noticed that one of the first things I saw was that we had they definitely, clearly recognized that there was a pro side or a for side and a con side, which was the against side. They established that right from the bat, what their topic was that they were debating, and then they went forward with the three main parts of an argument. They did their opening statement, which I noticed really was just stating their claim. They also recognized the counterclaim. So I noticed, especially when the gentleman started, he recognized things that he thought the lady who was debating against him would bring up. So he mentioned those things, but he also listed his own reasons, almost like we do in our thesis, so that we're like outlining exactly what our argument's going to end up being. Then she went ahead and took her turn. I noticed that every single time they took turns, and neither one of them interrupted anybody the whole time. Like, they let those people have their turn and say their piece, and then they were able to go forward with the next part of the argument outline. So they went next into the rebuttal, and we noticed that really what you guys are going to have to do to prepare for your rebuttal is you almost have to anticipate what the person arguing against you is going to say. So you have to decide, what are the points we know from our own research that are, on the opposite side of our argument. And then you've got to figure out how you're going to respond to it. Because when you talk in your rebuttal, and when you plan for your rebuttal today, later on when you're with your group, you are going to want to make sure that you're going to talk to each other about what is your answer to these possible points that are going to be brought up against you by the opposing argument side. Again, they took their turn, no interrupting. They were very, very good about that. And then the last thing they did was a closing statement, where basically they just summarized their main points again, probably hit their reasons. And then it's always good here to kind of hit them with that final thought, really leave your audience thinking and considering why your side of the argument is the better side. So those are the things that I noticed. If you guys missed any of this, or if you didn't get many notes, it might be a good idea to take a picture of what you see on the screen right now and just kind of keep those. I'll even do it right here. Take a little picture, Pooh. And then that way you guys have that, because you're going to need this. Like I said, at the very end of this, you're going to have to reference these notes to remember what are the parts you're preparing for when you practice these debates. Going forward into these notes, guys, this right here, little tips for being a great debater, you'll notice that they talk about making a clear, strong claim at the beginning, and they give you some sentence starters with the reasons. It says give the reasons to support your claim and backed up with multiple bits of evidence. And they start laying it out with their reasons and their pieces of evidence. And then I said down here, guys, does it look familiar? Because it should. Because, dude, that's just a box and bullets. You guys can do those in your sleep. So that's what your guys are going to start thinking, okay? When you're making these arguments, you've got to start thinking just like a box and bullets. Start organizing the information inside of your head and really start to figure out what is my claim and then what are my reasons and each of my pieces of evidence that are going to back up those specific reasons, okay? So here's another great video that I'm going to have you guys watch once we are done with this video. So you can come back and do this afterwards. But a lot of times we kind of get a little confused with these pieces of evidence versus these reasons. Remember, when I'm talking reasons, I'm talking like that umbrella topic where the pieces of evidence are exact things that you saw. Like you've got to be able to point at something in a resource for it to be evidence. The reason is just going to be the overall explanation of how all of those pieces of evidence in that bullet point fit together, okay? So you're going to watch that video just for some reminders on that, and then I'd like you guys to move forward with your debate teams and start working your way through this checklist here. These are going to be some things that you're going to have to do in order to go through and build what your oral debate will look like next week. I gave you a little extension down there at the bottom as well, talking about that emotional appeal and that author's authority that we were talking about in session 1 earlier this week. So you can look back at those notes if you need a reminder. From there, I've got just these argument outlines. I have 2 versions. The first is a 3 reasons with 2 evidence. So you'll see there that we've got the bullet. It would just basically be, these bullet points. Here's your box right here. And then your bullet points would be here with your piece of evidence, inside of here. All right. But then the other version is just the exact same thing with just 2 reasons and 3 evidence each. So guys, that's what your job is today. I'm not going to have you guys submit anything, but you do need to make sure that you have filled out this notes page here because you will need it later. You need to recognize that an argument really just breaks down into a box and bullet. I've provided another resource for you that I'd like you to watch to remind you about using evidence and reasons in your boxes and bullets. And then I want you guys to get together and go through this checklist to prepare for your oral debate. You guys are going to need to be on task. And you're going to need to be very prepared. I want you guys to have the best arguments, okay? I want lots of little lawyers when I come back. So get yourselves ready for that. Be on task today. And next week, we can do a little bit of debating in class, and we can decide who are the best arguers in the classroom. Can't wait to see it, guys. So go ahead after this. Like I said, you're going to watch your evidence and reasons video, then get together with your team, work on the checklist and the outlines. You guys got this. Love you. Bye. Mwah.